Hi, everyone. This is okay. So it seems I have been on mute. Um, Hi, everybody. My name is Jody Anderson. I am one of the co-founders of How I Met My Dog. Marianne Zeman is joining me. She is also one of the co-founders of How I Met My Dog. Um, and I just want to warn everybody, this is the first time that we're using this webinar software. So bear with us. We might trip through this together a little bit, but we'll get through it. And we're scheduled to start at 7:30, but I just want to be certain that we give everybody that signed up just a moment to log in, just in case anybody's having any trouble. So for those of you that are already sitting here, welcome. And I will say this again in a moment before we formally get started, but right now I cannot hear anyone. You guys are all on mute and I am the only one that is speaking. So if you have questions, and I really want to answer all of your questions, that's the best part of this. So if you have any questions, you can type them up on the screen, and then as soon as I am done, Marianne is going to read the questions and unmute you one at a time, and then we can address that. So hopefully, again, we'll get through this without too much trouble. So I think we'll get started. And if anyone else pops on and I see, I can do a little bit of a catch up. So just first, I'd like to reiterate that I am Jody Anderson, one of the co-founders of HowIMetMyDog.com. I am joined by Marianne Zeman. She is also one of the co-founders. And we have partnered with Houston PetSet to assist you guys in finding the best adopters for your dogs. And Houston PetSet is an amazing organization, as you know. It really wants to do whatever possible to help the Houston area rescues and find homes for your dogs. So we've partnered with them so that we can help you with HowIMetMyDog.com. So just to explain, we are a matching service, and we have launched in Texas. We're in 13 states around the country, but we're working diligently with those rescues in Texas to really get you guys off the ground with us. We've developed an algorithm that custom matches the right rescue dog with the right adopter. And I'd like to just scroll up a little bit and just explain to you how it works. So first, I'm going to make this a little bit larger for you. So first, we have a survey, and it's a 56-question survey that adopters come on our site and answer about their lifestyle and their behavior. Once they answer all of our questions, we give them what we call a pet profile. That stands for personality, expectations, and training style. We also ask questions of the rescues about every dog in their care, and then that dog also gets a pet profile. Both pet profiles go into our database, and the algorithm finds the best match for that adopter and the best match for that dog. So essentially, for the first time, we let you give your dogs their own voice and help you find adopters. So once an adopter comes on and does the survey and gets their pet profile, and we start to make matches, we will only show people dogs that they have matched with. It's not like a bulletin board where they can decide which dog they like the look of, and then they look at the dog's behavior. We only show you matches that you've already matched with, and then we send that adopter directly to you to get the dog. So we will continue to match an adopter. Every time a new match comes on, we will send them an email, and I'll show you that in just a moment, letting them know that there's a dog that wants to meet them. We also have done something to help the shelters with streamline your paperwork. And what I mean by that is we've come up with a common application. About 40% of the questions that adopters answer on their adopter survey will be imported into an application so that you can see the answers to those questions. I'll show you that in a moment as well. If they are interested in applying for one of the dogs they've matched with, they simply hit send my application. The next page they see is references. They can fill in those references, and then that application with references comes directly to your rescue. And then you are free to answer the adopter and set up the meet and greet and hopefully consummate the adoption. So that is the last part of the workflow. You have the people come in. They are your dogs. We do not have anything to do with the jurisdiction of your animals. We are the matchmaker. We respect your policies. And if we send you an adopter that you like, the fee is yours. There is no charge for our service. So when an adopter does match with a dog, they will get an email. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller now so you can actually see what an email looks like. And this little guy, Flex, he would go out to every adopter that he matched, and they would see this and simply say, tell me more. They would click into the website, and then Flex's entire pet profile will come up. So this is what they would see for this dog on our website. And as you can see, this little guy is Basenji. Just to let you know, you do not have to say what breed a dog is. We don't match based on breed. The first time that someone will actually see what breed a dog is the information that you filled out on the profile. But they've already matched that dog. If you want to say American Rescue Dog, feel free. If you want to guess what the breed is, you can do that too, but just understand that it isn't that important that you put the breed in because the person has already matched the dog. So we know that Flex is 8 months old. We have a sense of his weight. He's still growing. His location is North Attleboro, Massachusetts. He's been viewed 133 times. He could have been matched with thousands of people. Right now we have over 50,000 adopters in our database. So he could have matched with thousands of those adopters, and 133 of them clicked into his profile. As it turned out, he was one of those dogs that got many, many applications and has been he's got a new home. But the thing that we think is so great about the first part of a dog's profile is that we decided that we were really going to make it rich so that a person could get to know the dog before they ever applied. And in that case, we gave you options to put bonuses. So we know that he's good with dogs. We know that he snuggles, he plays fetch, sits on command, he's very social, and he loves car rides. So as an adopter, I have a sense of who this little guy is. And then we have things to consider. And it says he's a chewer. I am a dog trainer. I have been for the past 30 years. And I contend that if a dog is in the right environment, often behaviors that plague them in one home might not ever even appear in another. So a little guy like this might go to the right home that we match him with, get an awful lot of exercise, and perhaps the chewing will go away. So again, now I have a sense of who he is. This is what we call our compatibility match. And the compatibility match is an adopter's pet profile and a dog's pet profile come together to make a compatibility match. We will not ever show you a match that is not at least very good. We will never show an adopter a match that's not at least very good. So we're not matching your dogs with people that are just a good match. They're very good or they're excellent. And in this case, as I mentioned to you, the pet profile, personality, expectations, training style, these are the criteria, the major criteria that we do our matches on, and then we break it into 30 levels of human and dog compatibility. So in this particular case, you're looking at how this dog matched with me. And now we tell you a lot more about Flex. This is Flex's pet profile. And I'll give you a moment just to have a look at this because the way we created this, again, as I mentioned, we want adopters to have a sense of who the dog is before they ever hit, I'd like to apply for that dog. We want to give the adopter as much information as we possibly can to understand this dog's needs and the kind of home this dog needs before we ever ask the rescue to consider them for adoption. So now, as you can see, there's an awful lot that we know about this little guy. And then the next thing we do is we tell them where the dog is. And in your case, it would be your rescue. And we would include next steps. We would include your adoption policies. And in this case, they're very short, but whatever they are, you can put them in here. The date the dog is available, if the dog is an out-of-region transfer. So I would imagine that in Texas, often these are dogs that start in Texas. They're not out-of-region transfers, but if they are, just put that. And the waiting period that you require before you'll let the dog be adopted, and your adoption fee. And of course, the adoption fee is yours. I reiterate that there is no charge for our service, and we actually ask, we in this case, see, you see it says that he's being rehomed. We will also serve people that can no longer keep their dogs and they need to find the best new homes. So in this case, Flex was a dog that was living with a family and they couldn't keep him, and rather than have to put an ad on Craigslist or on Facebook, they did a pet profile for Flex, and as I mentioned, he got a lot of applications and already has a great new home. So we will also, if you have owner surrenders, you're welcome to tell them to please come to How I Met My Dog, and there is no charge, and we will try to help them place that dog in another home without having to surrender their dog to a shelter. We also have an adopter guide, downloadable PDF to help people understand how to meet a rescue dog, how to meet a shelter dog, how to meet a dog that's being rehomed. And then the adopter has the option to just put this dog in their favorite category on their dashboard or send their application. Very quickly, let me just show you what an adopter application looks like. So here are the references. And some rescues say that they don't really require references. That's okay, you don't need to use them. They're there for your convenience, but certainly not necessary if it's not part of your policy. You can download this printable application, share it with your adoption counselors. And these are the questions that you're going to see that are imported from the adopter survey, and they will be checked off accordingly depending on that particular adopter. Again, we will share these with you if you're interested. We can send you PDFs of a PDF of this particular application. And when you sign up for How I Met My Dog, it's very easy. Come to our website, say that you are a shelter or a rescue. It takes about 5 minutes just to sign up. We ask specific questions. Are you a foster? Are you brick and mortar? Are you private? Are you a municipality? We ask that you're a registered 501c3. We're aware that not every municipality is. That's okay. If there's a question, we'll certainly give you a call, but as I said, municipalities are not always 501c3s, but you're welcome to sign up. We want to help everybody. So you let us know, sign up, do a password, who your customer service contact is, the kind of payment that you like to accept. Again, this has to do with you and telling an adopter information about you. It's not that we're going to take your credit card, or because, again, I reiterate, we are free. Adoption policies. So this is an interesting one. The algorithm respects the distance that you will allow a dog to be adopted within. So if you have a 25-mile distance parameter, or you need to do a home visit, we respect that, and the algorithm will respect that. So if there's an adopter 26 miles away and your parameters are 25 miles, that adopter will never see your dogs. Now, again, we don't want to tell you what your policy should be, but we have learned over the past 18 months that the more open you are to adopters that are a little bit farther away, we're going to get you more adopters. The faster we're going to get your dogs into the best homes. We had a dog this past week that was with a shelter that has a 50-mile radius, and they were having some trouble getting that dog noticed. Dog was matching a lot of people, but then as soon as the distance parameters clicked into the algorithm, a lot of the adopters fell away. So we recommended that they open their distance parameters, and the dog is now, they are in Connecticut. The dog is now going home with a family in Massachusetts. And the rescue said this was a perfect match, and we never would have found them if we had just stuck with our 50 miles. So please just be a bit flexible about the limit of how far you'll let a dog go. Here is if you require a home visit, and as you can see, because the screen is up, I don't want to make everybody go through each one of these with me, but all of this information goes into the algorithm, and it considers your shelter policies before we do any kind of final match. If you have additional shelter policies, please let us know. The adopter will see them. And then you hit submit, you are signed up as a shelter, and then the next thing you do is load a dog. And there is a prompt on the screen that will say add a dog, and you go in, and these are the questions. We will also, for anyone that wants it, send a PDF of this survey. This is a dog survey. There are 2 different dog surveys. There are actually 3, one for a rehomer, but for rescues, there's 2, one for brick and mortar and one for those dogs that are in foster care. The foster care is naturally longer, but we've taken great pains because we understand that you are under a lot of time constraints. We've taken great pains to make the brick and mortar, the shelter survey, as short as we possibly can. We've sort of clocked it at 6 minutes for someone who's done it for the first time. And then we have a lot of shelters that come back and tell us that after they're used to doing it, it's really more of a 3-minute proposition per dog. So we know that some of you have a lot of dogs in your shelters. If you can maybe appoint 1 or 2 or 3 volunteers that have a sense of the dog's behavior to fill these out, that would really be terrific, because the more dogs you put on, the more activity there will be in your region, the more adopters will see your dogs and will get them into your shelters. Okay, so I'll just scroll through this. this is the part of the profile that the adopter sees that we talked about with special needs, behavioral considerations, and bonuses. And of course, there's a free field. So if we haven't named something that you want to tell us about that dog, feel free to put it in the free field and we'll put it in. So images, the better the picture, the faster the dog gets an application. Again, we only show people dogs they have already matched with. So the next step, because we have matched them on behavior and lifestyle, the next step and the most important step is for them to fall in love. And the better your pictures are, the faster people fall in love. It's, you know, whether we agree with it or not, it's just a fact. So if you would do, we say at least one image is required. It is always advantageous to do 2, certainly 3. We'll take 4 or 5. Eventually we'll be able to allow you to upload a video, but for the moment they're still shots. So again, just take great photographs because it really helps the dogs get more attention. One of the things that I just want to tell you that we think is a great advantage of How I Met My Dog is that in addition to every dog in your care having a voice, because this survey is a reflection of their behavior and the lifestyle that you think that they would thrive in this new home that they would thrive in. It allows each and every one of your dogs to have a voice. And it also allows each and every one of your dogs to reach out to adopters. As I mentioned earlier on, we have over 50,000 registered adopters that are interested in being matched with dogs, and the database grows every day. And every single time a new adopter comes into our system, comes on to howimetmydog.com and does an adopter survey, every one of your dogs has another chance to be matched. So if we do not send applications right away, or you don't get an application from an adopter right away, your dogs will never just be sitting there. We will make sure those dogs get run through every new adopter that comes onto the system. So every day it has a new chance, and we will do this every day until you tell us the dog is adopted. You can upload any records or files, vet records or files that you want to share. I just want to spend a moment and talk about the only non-starter that we have at How I Met My Dog is that we cannot allow a dog in the database that has a known history of biting a person. We just have not coded it yet to protect that dog and the people that the dog might end up with. But as a dog trainer, I know that there are 3 sides to every dog bite, and it's a shame. But for the time being, if the dog has a known history of biting a person, that's really, it won't let you go any further than that. But if the dog does not, and many of them, of course, don't, it'll ask you if the dog is in shelter care or foster care, and it will take you to the right survey. So then you have a dashboard, and your dashboard is going to have all of your dogs on it. You're going to be able to view the profile of each and every one of those dogs, just like we did with Flex. You could see what it looks like. You can change certain things. You can change the status. If the survey is incomplete, the dog will not upload. So if you see this if it says your survey is incomplete, go back and check. Might be a question or 2 that you forgot to answer. It happens to all of us. And then just complete the survey and the dog starts to get matched. So the dogs are either no longer available, adopted, adoption pending, or listed, which is that dog is actively searching for adopters. Once the status of that dog changes, we ask that you go on to your How I Met My Dog dashboard. Only take a moment. We do not yet integrate with shelter management systems. We will in the future, but for now, for those of you that are integrated, we'll get there soon. But please just, if you could go on to your How I Met My Dog dashboard, even if it's once every couple of days, and just update if a dog is adopted. If it is, you will get a drop down that will ask if it was adopted by an outside adopter And it will also give you the option for any one of our adopters that has sent you an application. Please check off which adopter, if it is ours, so we can follow that dog for a year and ask how that dog is doing. We send out surveys 4 times a year, and at the end of the year, we'll share that information with you. So it's checks and balances on how we're doing with our matches, but we also think you want to know how your dogs are doing. You can add a dog from here, update account information. You cannot go back in and change a dog's behavior. So there's a couple of things that we're working on, and one is that we, at the moment, we tell you that if a dog's behavior has improved or deteriorated markedly, just take that dog off. Mark that dog unavailable, no longer available, and then start the survey over again. So we know that a lot of dogs come into foster care and they do really well, and they're very different after a couple of weeks. So we want to give that dog the best advantage if they're doing well. We want their survey to reflect that. And at the same time, there are dogs that are very stressed and don't do well in the shelter system, and we want that dog also to get the best chance. So go ahead and mark it no longer available and start the survey over. If you have a bonded pair, this is another one of those things that we've sort of tried to figure out the best and easiest way to do. But I think if any of you have a bonded pair, I'm going to explain how to do it, but please feel free to reach out to us. Because we're happy to walk you through it. So if you have a bonded pair, and for all intent and purposes, I'll give an example, we'll call red and one blue. So red and blue have to go together. Do a survey for red and do a picture of red, and then also have a picture of another picture with red and blue in the picture, but just so that it's clear that red is alone in the picture, so everyone knows who that dog is. And then do a survey for blue and do the same thing, a picture of blue alone, and then a photograph of blue with red. Then there'll be, those dogs will match individually. And then if someone matches with both, they'll know they're a bonded pair. If they match with an individual and they get in touch with you, feel free to tell them this is one of a bonded pair, and someone that might not otherwise have thought they were interested in a bonded pair might very well take both of them. So let's move on. So you get to see how many times a dog has been viewed. This particular dog, Maddie, was viewed 207 times. If you find that a dog isn't getting any views, and you're puzzled by that, please reach out to us. We will go into the back end of the algorithm and find out what that dog survey says, and we can walk you through it and see if we can help shed some light on that particular dog. You might also find that if you don't have a whole lot of views, it doesn't mean the dog didn't have a lot of matches. As I said earlier, go back and check your photographs. If they're not wonderful, just replace them with some great ones, and then all of a sudden you'll see that the dog starts to get views. Please remember, again, no matter how long it takes, we are not going to forget about a single dog. Every dog gets a new chance, many new chances every day to match with the right adopter. This is that drop-down menu. So if a dog gets adopted, we ask that you just click on if it's one of our adopters. And if it's not, just select outside adopter. That'll change the status, and it'll let us know who adopted the dog. So this is the shelter care survey. And just to let you know that it's really very short. We're asking 33 questions. So once you get used to doing these, it takes about 3 minutes a dog. So we know that you don't have a whole lot of time to spare, but we would really love it if you would load as many dogs as you can. This is what a person's pet profile looks like. So in this case, I'll make this a little bit smaller. In this particular case, So this is what a person sees when they complete the adopter profile. And I'll make it a little bigger, and I'll just give you a moment just to look at personality. And it shows you the kind of pet parent you are. We have a lot of people that really love the idea that we can kind of identify the kind of pet parent they are before we ever match them with a dog. And we've had some really great success with this. People writing to us and saying, wow, you really know who I am. This is fantastic. This is exactly the kind of pet parent I am. Expectations. We think this is a pretty important category. And training style. So we don't only tell adopters about dogs, but we also tell them about themselves. I believe, okay, so if we have any questions, I'm going to go back to the beginning of this and just leave the home page up, and then I'm going to ask Marianne to unmute. Okay.
Hi. Thanks, Jody. We have a question from Pam, and I'm going to unmute you. I hope, Pam. There you go. Now I think you can talk. You had a question about rehomers?
Can you hear me? I'm on a tablet.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Hi, Pam.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so I had quite a few questions actually. The first one was, if it's a person, you had mentioned earlier, if it was an individual that had an animal that they were looking to, like for example, somebody, if they were going to surrender an animal to the shelter, if they utilize this platform, how do they do that, or do they have to go through a rescue?
No, they can actually come on just as a private citizen. They just go on to howimetmydog.com. And right on the homepage, as you can see here, it says adopt a dog, rehome a dog, foster a dog. So if they want to rehome a dog, they're just going to come on, and we're going to take them through exactly what to do. We're going to ask them a lot of questions about that dog, and that dog is going to get a pet profile. It's very similar to the foster survey. So if the dog's in foster care, we know they have a lot more information about the dog. So it's a long survey. And
so then the applications go to them?
Yes,
correct.
they go to their dashboard. Just so a rehomer, in essence, you can think of as their own rescue, right? So if I have a dog that I can't keep, I will do a profile on that dog. I'll fill out a survey, and then I have my own dashboard. I don't have to tell the world who I am, what my name is, where I live. I can just privately go on and look at everyone that's interested in my dog if I get an application.
Okay, that's great.
And then we can communicate, and when I decide to do a meet and greet, then we can exchange information. It's a safe platform to do it on, trying to keep the dogs out of the shelters.
Do you want me to ask my other questions all at once, or just wait for others?
Go right ahead.
Okay, are you able to upload videos, not just pictures?
Not yet, but we will soon.
Just on that point, Jody, just this website, this visual that you're looking at is our new website, which is going to be launched in the next couple of weeks. If you go on How I Met My Dog now, it looks different. That's our old website. The functionality is the same. The new website is going to have video capability to upload a simple video. But and that should be coming on in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Are you recording this presentation, or is Houston PetSet recording it so we can share it with other rescues and groups that weren't able to attend tonight?
Yes, we are. Okay.
Another question was, you can pick the radius from your location where you were open to having adopters. Is someone able to pick a specific cities? Like, for example, I know there are quite a few groups here that do transports to specific areas. So if they know they have a transport partner, or ways to get animals to a specific city, are they able to pick certain cities in the US where they want their dogs marketed?
No, you can, but what you can do is you can talk to your shelter partners in those cities, and they can put the dogs on too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you have a shelter partner, let's just say in Massachusetts, you can, whoever is living with the dog or knows the dog best or caring for the dog, housing the dog, um, they can fill out the survey and then talk about the availability of that dog, and you can have them post it in Massachusetts if that's where the dog is going. So
So the
anywhere you have a
Massachusetts
shelter,
Rescue or the Massachusetts group would be the one that would be posting it under their rescue shelter group.
yes. And
Okay.
and and so if you have 3 rescue partners, and you don't know where that dog is going to end up, they can all 3 post it, and wherever they get the application from, that's where the dog can go. If that's, but again, totally up to